Hey everyone, I'm here with my man Dylan Zhang, one of the co-founders of the AI layer to crypto. The company name is Pond, and they're completely changing the way AI interacts, interprets, and solves problems using on-chain data. We'll be talking Usain Bolt, AI models, and more. All right, Dylan, hello.
Hey Dan. Hey guys, good to meet you here today.
When's the first time we met? About 2 or 3 years ago?
Wow, it's a long time. I guess must be like 3 years indeed. Yeah, it was about 3 years ago.
It was at an event in Hammersmith, wasn't it, in the UK?
Yes. Yeah.
Dylan,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you a very important question first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
What does yourself and Bob Dylan have in common?
Well, I guess it's the name part. We both have the Dylan part. Well, shared Dylan part together. So I guess that's the only thing in common. So I don't sing well, and I'm not a great thinker usually like him. So yeah, I guess only the name part. So.
I thought you were a lyrical master.
Well, trying to be, but can never, share that comment with him. So
Only at pitching.
yeah.
So Dylan, what was your story into crypto? What's the beginning?
Yeah, so it was back in 2018. So someone was trying to convince me to join their crypto hash fund, and also at the same time they were working on a crypto explorer. And at the time, I remember Solana was around $1, and I looked up what is Bitcoin and all that. I found there's a lot of news reporting, Bitcoin was a scam. So I didn't join, but later on, I kept in connection with them, and I remember there was a time when Bitcoin hit around like 10,000. Those people called me again, and I was really tired of my job at the time, so I decided to join this industry. But I didn't join their firm at the first place. So that was on a high level how I joined this industry and how I knew this industry. So the first job I had in this industry was a listing manager at a top 5 centralized exchange. And later on, I found I was really tired of the job because it was kind of like a buy-side job, and different founders come to pitch me, different ideas or their projects. I feel like I'm still a product person. I enjoy doing something by myself, and so later on, I joined a San Francisco-based interoperability startup as a first employee. That's where and when we met, actually. So I was there doing business, and gradually I realized, this on-chain data can play a big part in this entire thing. So I later on left the company and I started my own thing, but I didn't start from, what we are doing now. I started from a business perspective because the on-chain data has a unified data standard and different types of the data, financial data, social data. Well, at the time, social was a big thing on chain. Well, kind of like a big thing. I don't know how big it is today anymore, but so yeah, so I feel like all the different types of the data mixed all together, it gives us a capability that we can use it to find different people on chain. We can identify who knows who well. So we want to take advantage of that, developing some sort of like a industrial scale social graph. And later on, we gradually realize we can do social data. Also, we can process other data, which become what we are today. So
Dylan, what is Pond, and why and how is it going to change the world?
yeah, so Pond, you can understand it as a crypto-native AI model powerhouse. We have gradually entered the era that as long as there's a type of data, there's a corresponding machine learning model for that. We have stable diffusion for computer vision. We have GPT for content creation, and we have different types of foundational models in different industries, in different verticals, in robotics, in voice, in video. What about the on-chain data? So it's 100% permissionless, and it's highly monetizable because at the end of the day, this is transaction itself. Yeah, so we started from developing our models by ourselves, and later on we have learned so many lessons along the way, and now we have opened up our model and a data infrastructure to the market to empower different developers to develop different killer models in crypto native AI use cases, like in DeFi, in social, in trading specifically, in security, in serial detection, in pretty much everything that today you are dealing with in crypto, that we can retrieve the information better through machine learning. So that is on a high level what we are doing. It's just a model powerhouse for now. You can have all the data, you can have the valuable machine learning problems that we have conducted research in-house after discussion, and also discuss with the community. And also you will have the necessary data for you to develop such a model, structured and process the data. It took us about a year to build this entire data infrastructure and a pipeline. And also labels. We have around like 100 million different labels. You can understand, this is the smart contract of our wave, and that can be a wallet of a profile like a YO or MEV, etc. So we have labels like that. So that's for now what we have and what we've been doing, and gradually we're gonna move to the AI application side as well.
Today, blockchains have public data sets. You train the AI models, or you provide the tools to train the AI models, which can turn those models into applications, so agents, trading bots. And today you provide competitions, right, with the community you just mentioned. So is it the case that like what happens when it comes to building on Pond today? Like, I go to one of these competitions, I go to build something, maybe it's a trading bot, or it's something to help improve security. What happens to those solutions? And do they get rolled out into a startup? Are they funded by an organization and then gets incubated by the organization? Like, what does that actually mean and look like?
It can be all of them, to be honest. Like, on one hand, well, if you are, individual developers, or you are, a developer syndicate that you feel like you want to develop some useful things, because when we say, trading bot, any like trading or security scenarios, they are very complicated scenarios, because in trading alone, you can have different types of models orchestrating or playing around with each other, and you have a overall output. For example, you need to combine, volatility model with risk model, with alpha prediction model, beta prediction model, token recommendation model, weighted risk model, and pretty much all different models, putting them all together. Then you can have a proper, trading model rather than one standalone trading model and just there. So, as a developer, you can solve those meaningful questions, and later on you can use those models by yourselves, because, well, you are the contributor of this suite of models, right? So you will be able to use whatever you have produced, and also we can use the whoever produced, but it tends to be the best. So the reason why we're adopting this competition approach is, for models, well, this is kind of counterintuitive, because it's not a matter of number, it's not a matter of quantity, it's a matter of quality. You can have one or two or three best models that will 100% outperform all the rest of the 100 models that are slightly worse than them, performance wise. So we are adopting this competition style, because we want to find the best possible models in different verticals, while at the same time we produce research with our community. And you will be users and developers will be able to solve these problems. And if they later on feel like, I have been inspired by something, and they have trained a model with the data sets we have provided, and they have a model, and they want to start their own venture, and we can do that. We can help them to do that as well. And also they can do this by themselves, because they have the model trained already, rather than, because we have struggled a lot with this initially when we didn't close our first round. When our first round hasn't been closed back then, so because we are essentially developing a model business, we need to pay for data, and we need to process and structure those data. But essentially, there's no way for us to do so, because usually, the data processing is very expensive, and also data service, they are not cheap. So we need to hire a bunch of people to do the data processing. But as a startup, as a first stage, as a super early stage startup, usually they don't have the financial capabilities or the resource or the talents to process all the data, but we are providing those structured and processed data by ourselves. We have spent, like I said, lots of money and also lots of effort and time to process this data. And also we have plotted an on-chain map by having this 100 million on-chain labels. So people who ever want to, do this model business later on, they can, leverage our data and develop some models, and later on they can start fundraising right away. So that can be one way for them to do so. And second way is if they feel like I never want to start my thing, I'm just develop models as a hobby, then they can feel free to do so as well. So there are so many people who are using GitHub these days, and what is the really good of GitHub is, on one hand, it's a community-driven process. They will be able to share with each other about their works, and also at the same time, developers can have their reputation. Right? So this is also something that we are helping with our developers to build this reputation. So they will stand out among others when they are looking for a job, for example, and so. Yeah, so later on, just imagine later on you are looking for a job on Catalyst, or you are waiting for different employers to find you on the platform, and how you can stand out among others, right? So, I mean, all the developers, well, I assume like we all hate talking, I don't like talking as a developer, but I really enjoy my conversation with Dan, so I'd like to be here today. So, yeah, we don't like talking that much. So the easiest way for us to prove ourselves is we have some, measurement or some metrics that we can, just leverage, and we can pitch to the employer, and they will be able to see how well we are directly. So rather than, from our conversations all the time. So this is also another benefit that people can use our platform. It's really, there's a leaderboard, people can stand out. On that leaderboard, they will be able to know, and also the third parties will be able to know like how well they have developed something before. So, and also I think the more direct thing is you can earn points by developing models, and also some of the models, like the one we are working with Vitalik, we're gonna release another one soon, and that one compared with what we have on the platform now is gonna be much bigger. So even the one on the platform these days we are working with Vitalik has around like 20,000 grants directly provided by Vitalik himself. And also, we are working with Space, Retros, and Hyperbolic. All the competitions, they have prize as well. So yeah, this is more direct. And after we move to the model application side and then stage, and you will be able to use your own models and other models directly and productize them immediately. Even as a general user, you will be able to productize them. So yeah, that's on there.
This could sound like a stupid question, but what happens about IP? Like, you have blockchain data, which is of course public. You have your models, which helps build solutions. But say I build the best solution that you have a competition for. Do I have to then make that open source? Or like, if I want to spin out a startup, I want to be protecting that. So
yeah,
what happens there?
Yeah, so first of all, we don't take your model. So the time when, so for example, you develop a very good model, and later on you want to run your model, you want to use your model, you can, integrate it with our, data and inferencing infrastructure. So you will be able to let the model run, because, well, if you only have a model trained, it's just a piece of code without connecting with the real-time data. You need to connect with the environment so the model can run and produce results. So we can provide that for you, but also at the same time, the time when you integrate it with our infrastructure, we don't host your model. We don't have the ownership of your model. This is also the reason why we are doing this, kind of like a Kaigo style competition in crypto rather than in Web2, because, well, in blockchain, everyone owns their data because the data is public, right? Which means that everyone can own their model. You just need the infrastructure to plug in and to run this model. But you still own the model. So if the time you don't want to, have your model run on our platform, our infrastructure, you can feel free to take it out, and you still own the model. You can, do whatever you want later on with your model. So we don't keep any ownership of your model. It just neutralize the platform. For the IP, well, since we don't take the ownership and developers still have their model and they can do those things by themselves at the time as well. So I think it's really up to what developers want to do. And also, like, if people are concerned with IP in the future, or this is something that when we realize this is a huge demand from our community, we can work with maybe Story Protocol, or maybe work with MIT lessons to give them lessons for their models, so they can have a lessons right after the development on our platform, but also at the same time, well, they still have the ownership of their model. Yeah.
And you said earlier that you plan to move into the application side of things. So would you be building applications alongside the community at the same time?
Yeah, so we are likely to provide a application framework for people. We feel like, I think my mentality or our mentality is slightly different from some of the projects in the market. We never feel like, we never feel like users are users. We feel like users are also creators. We really want to empower them. One of the example I give to our team, or mention a lot in our team, is lots of people call me grassroots, and I kind of like it, to be honest. Like, I definitely feel like this project I started from a grassroots. I wasn't famous. Even now I'm not famous. Yeah, so we only feel like it makes sense that we can help those people. For example, they are in Southeast Asia, or they are in South America or North America, whoever. Like, they finish their job. They just finish the heavy duty job today, and they are sitting on a beach, or they are going back home and relax, and just had a very tiring day, and they open up their laptop and they want to do something with crypto, and they can have some edges compared with the others, and we really want to empower those people. We really want to empower our users and our developers to do things, to create things, and we are likely to develop an application framework rather than developing the application by ourselves, and to let them create, because we don't have many things to do in crypto, to be honest, and we don't have many useful tools. One example I can explain here is the time when we are trading an on-chain token. Well, we don't even know what is the price, what is the reason of the price change. Well, there can be many reasons, right? It can be the usual market behaviors, but also it can be someone who is doing trading, but we don't even know. Like, every price change comes from some sort of like an on-chain behavior, but nobody retrieves that information well to users. I feel like this is something like we can help those people as well. Yeah,
it's so true. I was speaking to the CEO of Request work, and he was like, we might launch something unbelievable. Like, we might have a massive partnership, and the price will just stay exactly the same. And then macroeconomic changes happen, and suddenly we're flying again, even off the back of maybe some really shit news that's happened at Request. So, like, definitely trying to be able to predict and figure out the market better when there is so much noise and seemingly random behavior at times. It's definitely a big problem to solve. What actually powers your AI infrastructure? Is it like Llama? What's behind it all?
Well, so we don't. So for our infrastructure, so for now we have used the sort of decentralized infrastructure for computation and storage to make sure everything is safe. And so I think the core infrastructure on one hand is some of the model experience that we have, and others are for example, our data sets, structured data, and this is one of the infrastructures, the data infrastructure. And second is the inferencing infrastructure, because you need to inference those models. So those models will be able to produce results by connecting with the data source. So data is one of them, and computation is one of them, and also the machine learning research capabilities, because you need to have valuable problems to solve, right? So you cannot just develop something out of nowhere and they have been proven invaluable to the market. You need a valuable problem to you need to define a valuable problem and later on you can start working on that. So our infrastructure, I kind of had a hard infrastructure, like computation, storage, inference, data, even data pipeline, data infrastructure, data computation, and even data labeling. So we have trained models to label different wallets based on their behaviors as well. And on the soft side is on the research side, because previously we have the models, and we know what are needed for model development, and what are the valuable problems to solve as well.
What's been your hardest, most difficult moment in building Pond, and what was the key learning that you took away from it?
Yeah, so I guess it was around like 2 years ago, back in 2023. That was the first time I was raising our first round, because like I said, without the funding, we cannot really do anything at all. It's not like something like you can start from scratch, because it's model, right? You need to buy the data. It's not like engineering works. You can have a AWS and have $100 spent every month, then you are good to go. You can develop an MVP. So for us to develop an MVP, we need a lot of like infrastructure in place and the data in place, which we didn't have. So we're kind of like very struggling. So I use my personal saving to sponsor the project at the first place, and I travel around the world, and I lost like 10 kilograms in a month, and been to like 6 countries in the world, and like 6 countries in the world in 2 to 3 months roughly. So I had a stomach bleeding at the time, because at the time Bitcoin was around $15,000. Nobody was investing in the market at all. So I just I just did that. I kept that lifestyle for around like 7 months ish, to close our first round. Yeah, that was the most difficult time to raise our first round. So I would say, yeah.
Oh man, that is horrible. But I mean, it's incredible though that you've got to this point where you're like, got such an amazing amount of funding now that you can actually build something so fruitful. In building Pond, what's been the biggest thing that you've learned about yourself?
Well, I think the first thing is well, we definitely need to be very grateful, like, to many things. Like, even though, well, I think fundraising, especially in this market, can be very hard, to be honest. Like, it's not like last cycle. Yeah, just need to be grateful. And there's a lot of people, actually, they are pretty nice, but it just like, due to some of the systematic issue or whatever the reason, like, they couldn't really help you out. But doesn't mean like they are bad people. I feel like one of the lessons I've learned is just to be grateful. And second is focus on a community. I know lots of people, they say this, but I haven't seen too many people that are doing this very well. I mean, Privy, the water integration, like, it's one of the best example. I really like the team, really like the founder, and I feel like they have the mentality to do so, and even you guys have this mentality to do so, like, to take care of your user, take care of the project of the community well. So on one side, I feel like you just need to be grateful to the people around you, and also to be grateful with the community, because they are not supposed to support you, but they wanted to support you. So I feel like that's very important. And this is a lesson that I've learned. And then I think another biggest lesson I've learned is, well, if you stick with something long enough, and things will get better. So just don't worry. If things are not doing very well, just stick with it and keep grinding, and later on it will have something happen. I'm pretty sure about that. Yeah, I'm very confident about it. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just don't die.
Yeah.
So the last time we spoke, you told me that you had changed your name to Faster.
Oh yeah.
So Faster Zhang, almost in your team. So how fast can you run the 100 meters?
Well, I don't have that number, but I guess it's it's kind of slow in some ways because I haven't exercised for a really long time. I think I should do it, but I would say around like 15 to 20 seconds. I don't know. Just give you a number. I don't want to be too. I don't think I can be very fast, but yeah.
So you're not the Usain Bolt of Web3?
Yeah. So these days I don't go sprint on running. I go sprint. I go sprint developing and just doing things. So I cannot run fast anymore for this 100 meter, but I guess I can code and develop things fast. Yeah.
Yeah. You're mentally, you've got an 8-pack.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess yeah, exactly. I run 100 meter mentally every day. So. Like a lot. I assume you are the same. So you are a busy CEO as well. So
yeah, almost as busy as you. What does speed mean to you in execution? This how are you? What's the kind of continual mental model and culture that you maintain to make decision making and processes better and faster?
Yeah, I kind of feel like speed is everything. It's almost everything, because especially as an early stage, if you ever want to develop something what people want, and you need to keep the iteration speed high enough, so you can keep iterating, and and later on find what is the small details that people want. So some of the good example is we have been developing business here, but the success of a product, or the of different services, actually they are in some details. Like the success of Facebook was because it adopted the real name. Nobody knew in social media real name was a secret sauce there. So lots of things there are there are small details, and the secrets are from there. So you just need to make sure that you can collect those small details fast enough and develop those things fast enough. So for me, for our team, speed is everything. So we really appreciate our engineers. Sometimes if you ever ask them how or when do you think you can deliver this, they can give you an answer like 10 minutes or 2 days and 1 day. So we never have proper product management tool or milestones. It's just like we feel like they can be achieved in a day or two. We just do this. We're usually developing that way. So yeah, so for me, speed is everything, but also at the same time you need to be very careful with it. So you don't want to lower the quality and things like that because of speed. So it's a compromise in some ways from time to time.
Awesome. Well, I'll ask the last question, which is where is Pond going to be in 5 years' time? You're busy working very quickly on these small projects. What's the long-term vision that you're heading towards?
I just feel like maybe in 5 years, people will, at the time, machine learning with on-chain data will become a mainstream, and people can understand the value, and we can create tools to help people to get a better edge. No matter in trading and security, they can provide inside trading. They can have more transparency from the on-chain activities, and they can make better decisions rather than being rugged all the time. Yeah, this is something I generally feel like we can work with our community. We can work with people in the market to develop such a to have such a future. I feel like the only way for you to have rewards is the reward of value creation. So we really want to focus on the value creation to others. That's how we can get a reward from the market as a project. But still, in 5 years, I feel like we really want to help everyone in this market to have some tools in place that they can well, at least save some money or save some costs or whatever, trade better, or have a better security experience rather than being fished or rugged. We just want to have that. We want to fully utilize the on-chain data and retrieve values from it.
Yeah. First principles, creating real value to your users and your current community, who I know probably love your product right now, given all the usage that you just showed me in the last couple of days. It's been pretty intense.